Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing well. Today I'm going to talk about your observation project. This is not your observation project, it is my dissertation, part of my dissertation. But this is your final project, aka observation project. So let's begin. The way I'm trying to describe this is just very simple. In the first video, this video, I'm gonna just walk you through different parts of the task and options, because like basically you have 4 options and you will choose only one of them. In video number 2, I'm gonna show you different videos from my like last semester's students, previous students. So basically, I will review those videos and would just tell you guys, for example, this video is just perfection because of this and that. This video could have been perfection because, I mean, if they would consider X, Y, and Z. And at the end of that, we have grading criteria, which is basically a checklist that can help you to actually check your work before submission and just make sure you considered every possible criteria. Because like this task worth 20% of your final work, it does have extra credit as well. So depending on your work, the quality of your work and creativity, you can earn some of those extra credit. Last semester, I had 48 students in developmental psychology. And I guess maybe like majority of them, they earned extra credit. But like maybe I guess 2 earned like 7 points because like their work was just crazy good. I will show you. But like you could be one of those, seriously, because like it is so fun. Like the whole final project, it just based on my experience and what I heard back from my students is so fun. Because like basically by the end of this project, you can feel you know the stuff and you are able to be a developmental psychologist or at least a child psychologist because you are able to analyze situation and consider different criteria for that. I hope it would be a good start for you and could just stimulate your creativity. So let's begin. Option number 1, it's about an infant between 6 to 12 months. And all we're gonna do here is just testing their object permanency. You have to obtain babies' permission from their parents. You already know about that because first of all, you had test 1 and you read study guide number 1. I put, I guess, at least 2 bullet points for ethical consideration for children because it is so important. So make sure you're gonna have that permission because without having this, I wouldn't grade your work. Just make sure you have it and you're gonna upload that. So you need to get at least 2 favorite toys of the baby from their parents because like basically after playing with one of those toys, babies gonna get kind of what's that like distracted and not interested about that toy. So maybe you need to switch toys at some point. Another point is some babies are just so young, they cannot sit. So you have to just make sure they are in a good seated position and they are safe. You can just ask their parents to just be present in the room. That's totally fine with me. But I need you to record every possible session. First of all, because BTS is just one, right? And second of all, you have to make some notes during your observation. And if you would record everything, in case you would forget to just make some notes, that sort of recording can help you to just write up the writing part of your project. So make sure you're going to record everything from the beginning. So each option, I already said that we have 4 options. This is option number 1. Each options has different tasks that you have to read them carefully and make sure you're going to address every possible situation and you're going to just write about them in your project write-up. I would just give you some cues now, but I would not go through like every sentence because like my expectation is you are just able to understand, to just read them. So I just want to make this video as short as possible and as engaging as possible for you, because I know that like after minute 10, no one would watch that. So I just trying to be fast. But in option number 1, we have 5 different tasks. For example, in task number 1, which you need to record from the very beginning, from task 1 until task 5. In task number 1, you're gonna put the toy in the full view of the infant. You're gonna just observe whether the infant gonna reach for that toy or not. In task number 2, you're gonna just do more advanced work. You're gonna cover one part of the toy, and again, you're gonna try to just understand whether the baby reaching for the toy or not, like whether they can just understand this is the same toy but covered. Okay. In task number 3, you're gonna cover the toy completely and see if baby is continuing reaching or not. Because like sometimes at some age, babies are not able to understand the toy has been hidden. They feel like it is gone. And babies who can understand that the toy is hidden, they can maintain object permanency. We're gonna actually talk about this more in chapter 7, but for now, keep that in your mind. At the end of the project, in task number 5, like every task is just more advanced than the previous one. In task number 5, you're gonna have 2 toys, for example, and you're gonna just cover one of them with like a blanket or something. Then you're gonna switch the place of, like, for example, the hidden one with the other one, and you're gonna see whether baby can understand which toy was hidden and which one was not. So just read them carefully and make sure you're gonna record every session, because if you have the recording, you can just go back and just check everything. One important point here is each of these tasks has some sort of cutoff points. For example, task 2 gonna be like crazy interesting if the baby would be around week 26, but task 5 gonna be so interesting if the baby would be between age 46 to 48 weeks. It doesn't mean like at other weeks babies wouldn't be behaving the way we want. It just actually meaning like they reach to that point of cognitive development that we can see what we want. But if the baby couldn't maintain object permanency, I want you to just mention that in your experiments, in your project write-up, and in your video, because this is so important, and I want your assumption for that. For example, if your baby is in that cutoff point but couldn't maintain the task, you can say that, yeah, the baby was tired, or the baby was distracted because like the room was just full of people, or maybe the toy was not interesting, maybe it was the nap time for the baby. I just need your assumption here, because I'm actually looking at you as a scientist. So I really want you guys to do your best in your conclusion part and just come up with just different assumption, and be creative. So let's talk about object number 2. Object number 2 is just kind of similar. It is again about Piaget conservation task, but this time we need a child around age 5 to age 10. We're gonna test them for 3 types of conservation: number, mass, and weight. Again, for these babies, I mean children, actually, they are older, you also need permission from parents, because again, without permission, I wouldn't check your work at all. It's gonna be a 0 because it's not ethical. We want to be ethical, right? So it's so important. Here, just conservation task in a simple word. For example, for number, you need some pennies or some stones, like a small gems or stones, whatever you have. I mean, not actual gems, like some artificial ones. Actually, I guess artificial ones are so expensive. Pennies, maybe, buttons, I don't know. But do your best. Then we have conservation of liquid, then we have conservation of mass. For example, for pennies, the first time you're gonna just make them tight, like very close together. Then you're gonna make them like pretty loose. Then you would ask the child, hey, is it like the same number or no? Depending on the age of the child and the way that a specific child is, like, for example, in typical or atypical development, they can answer this question right or wrong, okay? Yet, you need their rationale. You need their reasoning in your video and also in your project write-up. For example, conservation of liquid, you can see that. For example, we have like 2 glasses. The first time you're gonna ask them if it is like the same amount or not. Second time, you have a longer glasses, then you have like maybe smaller one, but like same amount of liquid in that. So again, you're gonna ask the same question. If the child actually would say that, hey, no, this is like different amount of liquid because like one of them is taller, one of them is just like shorter. You have to mention that in your project write-up because this is baby's rationale. So basically, baby cannot understand that this is the same amount of liquid, right? Same goes for conservation of mass. Again, you have like 2 types of Play-Doh. First of all, you're gonna ask them, hey, are they the same amount of Play-Doh? They would say yes or no. If they would say yes, you can go to the second part of the task. If they would say no, you would ask the baby, hey, can you just make them similar for me? So basically, they would make them similar for you, and they would just accept the fact that these 2 Play-Dohs, they are similar, they are not different. So in the second part, you're gonna make, for example, one Play-Doh like a snake, like skinny and longer. Another one, either the same or maybe just make them round, like a big snow, a snowball. Or I wanted to say stone, but like a snow. Again, I didn't have coffee, so that's why I'm just kind of distracted, but back to the point. So you're gonna ask the baby whether like these 2 Play-Dohs are similar or not. They will give their own rationale and you would report them. At the end of that, you're gonna like talk about your own point of view. And for example, we say that yes, baby could conserve the task because they actually hit the age and they are cognitively developed in a typical way, or baby couldn't conserve the task. Maybe they are younger, maybe they are in atypical development, maybe they were shy. Like we do have shy babies, they basically cannot communicate well with a stranger if you are not a family member or so. Or another reason, I mean, there might be several reasons. I just need like one of your assumption. One of the important point can be baby sex, like children's sex. For example, girls might be different from boys. You can use that as well. I just need to hear your assumption. Here you can see all of the procedure that you need to do the experiments, like the questions that you need. Read them carefully. Here, just more information. I'm just, again, just giving you all the detail that you need. You can just print them out. You can just have them in your iPad, in your laptop, and just go to baby and just ask your question. But again, record every possible session, make some specific notes because you have to submit all of those notes in your final project. You don't need to submit all of those like 2 hours video. I don't need that. I just need a final video, which I'm talking about that soon. Same goes for conservation of weight. We already talked about that. It is again the Play-Doh, so read that carefully. At the end of the task, be kind to babies and children because they can understand you, and just encourage them. If you have a toy or chocolate or something that is pleasant for baby, just give them. But you are not done yet. After finishing that part, the observation part, you have to score the baby or the child, or let's say participant, based on the way they address each question. For example, for Play-Doh condition, conservation of mass, if the participant would say that one is longer, because it is also skinnier, so they are still the same, like that kind of rationale, they can get the score. But like, for example, if they would say like something else, which actually rejecting your, like, the idea of the Play-Dohs, they are same, it means like they didn't conserve the task, so you have to deduct some point. Analysis based on baby's answer, participant's answer, based on your own observation, the whole experiment situation, baby's personality, whatever you feel like can be relevant, you're gonna analyze the situation, the observation, and answer all of these questions. Okay, I can get that. For example, maybe this question would not be relevant to your case. There are some examples. I want you to just actually consider and read all of these questions and see which one is relevant to your observation and just address them in your final work, in your project write-up and your video. Option number 3, it is about any sort of conversation between mother and child. So here, the child should be anything around 2 years old to almost 4. You're gonna actually spend some times with mother and child, and you're gonna observe their interaction. I want you to record the session because it can help you to just analyze their speech and just understand how mother and child gonna interacting together. Here, just more information. Just make sure baby and mom, they are not playing some sort of shadow game, or repeat after me, because basically we need to just understand how they usually interact and talk to each other. Conversation is necessary here. At least there should be 25 complete sentences here for you to just analyze the situation. For example, if you are sitting there and there is nothing going on between baby and mom, just tell them, hey, can you just tell a story and just, for example, try to interact with your baby or not? Because, like, come on, I'm here for an experiment. So make them to have a conversation because, oh my God, I need to have coffee. But yeah, because the whole project's aim, option number 3's aim is analyzing mother-child interaction and their language. We're gonna talk about this in chapter 9, but still, you need to actually understand the whole material and go through this before the deadline for your final project. Again, we have phase number 2 that you need to do, like the whole analyze. You have to just analyze the situation, answer all these questions in your project write-up and in your video. Option number 4, give me a minute. So option number 4 is like for someone who doesn't have any kids around, or is just so obsessed with the idea of social development. Here you need to, like in the previous options, the whole work was about someone else. The baby was doing the work. But here, this is you. You are doing the work. Basically, you're gonna watch 4 programs, at least 4 programs that gonna be watched by children. One of them gonna be one educational television program, another gonna be Saturday morning cartoon, another gonna be one sort of sitcom that's like very popular for children, but like this is like about adults. For example, like Modern Family. This is for us, but like children are also watching that. So you have to find at least 4 of them. I gave you some examples here. I do have more examples in the sample videos, but again, up to you. Whatever you feel like is relevant. For example, if you like Rick and Morty, just go for that. I'm totally fine because I'm a big fan. But it is all about your own creativity, and whatever you're gonna enjoy, do that. You're gonna count and record the number of violence or aggressive dialogues between a character. you're going to consider that whether like that kind of violence is just overt or reactional or instrumental or relational. I know maybe you would say that, oh, I don't know what is overt, what is reactional. You can go to chapter 13, page 520, and chapter 14, page 572, and just take out that definition. So you're gonna have like maybe one page of all those definition and example, and you can go through all this television program and like code them. So the analysis part is just again answering all of these questions and just making sure you're gonna address all of them. Okay, so if you don't have child and if you are so interested about social development, go for that. That's totally fine for me, but you have to address all of these 6 questions. This project is just so relevant to ESM model. It also demands some sort of self-study that I would say like every project, like all of those 4 options, they demand some sort of self-study, but I'm always here to help you. For example, if there would be any sort of dialogue in just one of those cartoons or sitcom that you feel like you cannot understand whether this is overt or reactional or relational, you can just email me. We can just schedule a WebEx and just talk about that. Good part. Your final project, like after doing one of these 4 options, what you have to turn in, number 1, it's going to be a paper. It has to be based on APA format. It has to be at least 500 words. And I'm telling you, if you would address all of those questions that I ask you, it's gonna be more than 500 words. But again, you have to just put a lot of assumptions, your own observation in that task, and it should be free of typos, grammatical mistakes, or you know that it should be APA 7s. You have to submit all of your documentations that you use for completing your project. For example, it's gonna be just a picture of the notes that you were taking, or maybe a screenshot of your notes, and just upload that on iCollege in the folder. And you need to make one video, less than 2 minutes, out of those recording. And you have to upload that one video in YouTube and also in TikTok. You don't need to make 2 separate videos. It can be one, but you have to upload that in both channels. I know some people, they are not good for social media. I mean, they don't have that much experience with that, but it is necessary because this is the essence of science, especially in these days. So I want you to just start your practice here. If you have any question, I can help you. I'm not a tech savvy, like that kind of crazy, but I'm definitely here to help. So no worries, it's gonna be okay. So your video, it should have some sort of narratives. Like it should be like a brief summary of whatever you're gonna work on that. And it has like different criteria as well. It's here, I will show you. But I know that you would ask yourself why we should have videos. The main reason here is just science should be accessible for everyone. And unfortunately, we know that there are like parents from low SES family, low socioeconomic status family, low level of literacy. They don't have access to a child psychologist or any sort of book or resources. So if you would put these videos out there, it can help some people just understand whether their baby is in typical development or not, whether their baby is doing okay or not. Maybe they would just do the same experiments on their child. So it can be really helpful. And I feel like video and social media, they are just helpful and really effective way for spreading science. Your video should be less than 2 minutes. It should have first page, preview page, and it's gonna be like, for example, developmental psychology, your professor's name, and your school's name. just exactly the same. Just copy and paste that in your preview page. So it has 5 different sections. We already talked about preview part, section 1. In section 2, you're going to talk about yourself. It can be just a voiceover, or you're going to just say that, hey, I'm Nicole, for example. I'm a senior student at GSU. Today, I'm going to do a conservation task, which is about XYZ. I'm going to use this and that. You're going to talk about that. You're going to talk about baby's age, gender, does or does not have any sort of developmental disorder, and you're going to show like the whole condition and description. I'm going to show you. At the end, I'm actually asking you to just talk about your conclusion and results in simple words, to the point that even like non-educated people can just understand what's going on with that experiment. Hashtags are so necessary. You can just copy and just paste all of this, but I need that because all these hashtags going to can help me to just find the same video for my next class. So I just need to just mark your video and just have them for my future reference. So don't forget about hashtags because it is important. Tag me for all of your videos, then I can see them. You have to also upload the link on iCollege in your final project packet. I also reserve the right for myself to use your video for my next class or any sort of educational purposes. So here is a wrap up about what you need to do. Some points is if you do not feel comfortable showing your face or the baby's face, it is fine. You can use some sort of visualization or cartoon character from outside, or just blur the scene, or just hide baby's face. Just put baby's hands in your video. That's totally fine. If you don't feel comfortable using your own voice, you can use auto-generated voice. That's totally fine with me. The description should be simple again, and it should be understandable for everybody. Make the video fun, have fun, be creative, enjoy developmental psychology. And I would say that definitely it's going to be a great start for you if you want to just I feel like in any job you need to do that kind of stuff nowadays, because like they're just so important. Everybody just about short videos, especially informative one. So do your best for that. And also check the examples. I guess I put all of the examples here, but I'm gonna just review them all together. Okay, see you in the next video.